The Satakas of Bhartrihari, translated into English from the original Sanskrit by the Reverend Biscoe H Wortham, B.A., M.R.A.S., Rector of Angus North, Graven. To Edward Barnes Howell, ESQ, MALD, Professor of Sanskrit at the University of Cambridge. Preface. Of the three Shatakas, or centuries, or couplets ascribed to Bhartrihari, the Nîti and Vairâgya Shatakam, although not included in the following pages, the Śṛṅgāraśatakam contains so many stanzas requiring modification, so many more wholly untranslatable into English, although on due consideration, I have decided to omit this collection of stanzas from a volume now published. It only remains for me to convey my thanks to the friends who, in various ways, have so kindly and willingly contributed their aid in helping me to carry out this work. B.H.W. Introduction to the Satakas of Bhartrihari. Who was Bhartrihari? What was his date? Where did he live? Or did he in fact ever really exist at all? These are questions to which no satisfactory answer has as yet been given. It has been alleged that he was of regal descent and the brother of Śṛṅgāraśatakam, that not only that he belonged to a reigning family, but that he was next in succession to the crown, that, disgusted with the world, he resigned in favor of his brother Śṛṅgāraśatakam. He is the reputed author of the Shatakas, or centuries of couplets. Firstly, Śṛṅgāraśatakam, purely a military poem. Secondly, Nîti and polity and ethics. Thirdly, Vairâgya Shatakam, or religious austerity. Besides these, in tradition assigns him a grammar called Vairâgya, and a poem called Bhartrihari. But beyond tradition, there is no evidence whatever as to the authorship of these Shatakas. The theory already referred to that Bhartrihari was a prince who quitted the world in disgust is found upon the somewhat vague allusions in the second shloka of the Nîti. This has been supposed to refer to the discovery of a domestic intrigue in his own household, which so shocked Bhartrihari's faith in worldly matters that he decided to abdicate his royal position and to retire into the forest as an ascetic. These conclusions seem, however, too much to deduce from a remark in itself somewhat obscure, but, however, the author may have been there seems the continuity and the uniformity in each of these separate Shatakas, as well as the similarity in character between them, which forbid us to accept the theory that they are merely a compilation of well-known sayings. The unbroken tradition, moreover, that they are the authorship of one man, whatever his name may be, should not go for nothing. The question of date is almost as difficult to decide as that of authorship, and this can only be arrived at approximately on internal evidence. Doctrines enunciated in the Vairâgya Shatakam are relied on as supplying us with some of the proofs that are required. Many of the shlokas of this Shataka speak in the language of the Vedantic philosophy, the rooting out of karma or action, absorption to the Supreme Spirit, or the driving out of moha or illusion by jnana, or the true knowledge of these ideas occurring very frequently in the Vairâgya Shatakam, all point to Vedantic influence. The 8th or 9th century AD has on these grounds been assigned as a date of these Shatakas, not that this date can be held as conclusive for though Śṛṅgāraśatakam, a great exponent and formulator of the Vedantic philosophy, flourished and taught at that date. It is not therefore proved that the Vedic doctrines did not exist before his time. It necessarily follows therefore that neither similarity of idea nor of phraseology can warrant also making Bhartrihari's Satakas contemporary with Śṛṅgāraśatakam. The argument as to the date from the mention of the Puranas in the Vairâgya Shatakam seems to be equally uncovering. Some of the Puranas may be even comparatively modern productions as late as the 14th or 15th century, but some are much earlier, dating back to the 5th or 6th century AD. Further, the contents of these Puranas may be carried back to an even earlier date, and are spoken of under the title of the Puranas by Amara Sinha in the 1st century BC, or therefore to derive any satisfactory conclusion as to dates from the mention of the Puranas and the Vairâgya Shatakam, we should require to know what Puranas are referred to in the particular passages, whether a works known to us as Puranas or those known under that name to Amara Sinha. Footnote: some, however, have placed Amara Sinha in the middle of the 3rd century AD, or even later. End of the footnote. Tirang, in the preface to his edition of the Nîti and Vairâgya Shatakam, was in favor of assigning the close of the 1st or beginning of the 2nd century AD, the author of these philosophical poems, in opposition to some authorities who would place his date at 56 AD. He grounds his view on the following considerations. Tradition informs us that the author of the Shatakas was Bhartrihari, the brother of King Vikrama, and that he also composed a grammatical work called the Vairâgya. This work shows us that its author lived at least one generation of the Patanjali's commentary on Chinese grammar, called Mahabhashya, had come to general use. The date of Patanjali varies according to different authorities from 200 BC to 25 AD. Bhartrihari in the Vairâgya notices the fact that the Mahabharata had gone through changes and rearrangements of text, possibly interpolations and additions. A period between 144 BC, which Tirang considers the probable date of Patanjali, and 56 BC would have been hardly long enough to account for alterations and interpolations in the text of the Mahabharata, and therefore 56 BC as the date of Bhartrihari must be abandoned. We have, however, seen that Vikramaditya was thought to be the brother of Bhartrihari. Now, there appears to be a general consensus of opinion that this Vikramaditya was a founder of the Saka era, and that he lived about 70 AD. This date allows an interval more than 2 centuries between Patanjali and Bhartrihari, a period of sufficient length to account for the alternations and interpolations which existed in the text of the Mahabharata referred to in the Vairâgya. On these grounds, then, such as they are, the authorship of these Shatakas has been assigned to the end of the first or the beginning of the second century AD. Some attempt has been made to fix Bhartrihari's date by comparison with that of Karidasa, but the date of Karidasa himself is not sufficiently well established to arrive at any certain conclusion by that method. Much, therefore, as to the date and authorship of these poems must be left to probability and conjecture. Note: the text from which the following translation has been made is that edited by Karshinath Trimbak Teran, Bombay, 1874. The Satakas of Bhartrihari, translated into English from the original Sanskrit by Biscoe H Wortham. Nîti Shataka, concerning morality. 1. Salutation. Salutation to the deity who is not definable in time or space, infinite, pure intelligence, and an incarnate form whose peace and glory, whose sole essence are self-knowledge. 2. That woman is attracted by another man, whom I suppose to be always devoted to me. To her another man is attached, while a certain other woman takes pleasure in my doings. Fie on her, and on him, on the God of law of that woman, and on myself. 3. A man who is entirely ignorant is easily guided. The wise man is still more is led, but even the Supreme Being himself cannot influence the smatterer. 4. A man will forcibly get back a jewel from the teeth of a crocodile. He may cross over the raging waves of the sea. He may wear an angry serpent on his hat, as if it were a garland of flowers, but he cannot win over the mind of one who's foolish and obstinate. 5. A man may get oil from sand by violent pressure. He may drink water from a mirage when oppressed by thirst. He may get possession of the horn of a hare, but he cannot win over the mind of one who is foolish and obstinate. 6. He who would lead evil man into the path of virtue, but few words, is as one who winds up and with a young lotus fibre. There's one who tries to cut the diamond with a filament Shisha, always one who decides to make the salt sea sweet with a drop of honey. 7. The Creator has given man, as it were, a cloak to conceal his ignorance. With that, he can over himself at all times, for it is always at hand. That gift of silence, a special ornament of the ignorant in the assembly of the wise. 8. Well, I knew but a little. I was blinded by pride, as another time is blinded by passion. My mind was exalted, and in my arrogance I thought I knew all things. Then I came into the presence of the wise, who know many kinds of wisdom, and my pride left me even like a favor. 9. The dog eats with delight pottered of monolith bones, and though the king of the gods may stand before him, takes no heed. Even so, mean man considers not the worthlessness of that which belongs to him. 10. The goddess falls from heaven upon the head of Shiva, and from the head of Shiva on the mountain, from the top of the mountain to the earth, always falling lower and lower, even in so many ways is the fall of one whose judgment has departed from him. 11. 5 can be quenched by water. The heat of the sun can be kept off by a parasol. A wild elephant can be guided by a sharp hook. An ox or an ass or a stick. Sickness can be subdued by the help of physicians. Poison by the assistance of various charms. A cure has been ordained by the Shastras for everything, but there is no medicine for the cure of a fool. 12. The man who has no sense of literature and music is like a beast. Though he has no horns and a tail, he may not eat grass, but yet he lives a life exactly like that of the cattle. 13. Those in whom is neither wisdom, nor penance, nor liberality, nor knowledge, nor good disposition, nor virtue, nor righteousness, may live in the world of mortals in the form of man, or they pass through the world like beasts, encumbering the earth. 14. It is better to wander in the mountain pass with the wild beasts than to live in the palace of the gods with the fool. The praise of wisdom. 15. One wise man dwell in poverty, man whose works are adorned with polished sayings from the Shastras, and who imparts separate learning to their disciples. Then that prince in whose kingdom they dwell is chargeable with fully and wise men, though poor are the rulers of the land. Should not those bad examiners be worthy of condemnation who through carelessness cause jewels to fall from their true value? 16. O kings, cast off your pride before those who have the inward treasure of wisdom. They are not despoiled by robbers, but that treasure, always increasing, grows greater, well assured with the needy. Not even at the end of the war does it perish. Who indeed may compare with them? 17. Despise not wise men who have attained to knowledge of the truth. They are not held bound by riches, for they count wealth even as grass. Their stalk of a water lily will not bind an elephant who's infuriated by passion. 18. The Creator, in his anger, may hinder the swan from squawking and the lotus bat, his dwelling, but he cannot take away his faculty of separating milk from water. 19. Bracelets are no ornaments to man, nor strings of pearls clear as the moon, nor your bathing, nor perfumes, nor flowers, nor decorated hair. Perfect eloquence alone adorns a man. The ornaments may perish, but the ornament of eloquence abides forever. 20. Wisdom indeed is the highest ornament that the man possesses. It is well used to be carefully guarded. Wisdom gains food, glory, and blessings. It is the Lord of lords. Wisdom is as a friend to a man traveling in a distant land. Wisdom is honored among kings even more than wealth. The man devoid of wisdom is but an animal. 21. If a man has patience, what need has he of anger? If he has anger in his heart, what further enemy need he fear? If he has knowledge, what need of fire to consume evil? If a friend, what need has he of divine medicines? If there are malicious people about him, why should he be afraid of serpents? If he has perfect wisdom, what need of riches? If he is modest, what need has he of ornament? If he gives his mind to poetry, what need has he of power? 22. Be well disposed towards relatives. Liberal to inferiors. Always hate the evil, love the good. Be obedient to princes, honor the wise. Be firm towards enemies. Be respectful to venerable man. Deal shrewdly with women. A man who frames his life after these precepts prospers in the world. 23. Intercourse with wise man takes away dullness of mind, elevates the intellect, inspires the speech with truthfulness. What will it not do for man? 24. May there be glory to wise men who are learned and accomplished poets. There is no fear that their renown shall wither or perish. 25. A virtuous son, an affectionate wife, a liberal master, a loving friend. A governess kinsman, a mind not harassed by care, a handsome form, abiding riches, a mouth abounding in wisdom. These are the gifts which Ari, the giver of the sires, the light of the earth, bestows upon the man with whom he is placed. 26. Abstinence from destroying life, keeping one's hands off another's wealth, speaking the truth, reasonable liberality according to one's power, not conversing with the wives of other men, checking the stream of covetousness, reverence towards spiritual fathers, compassion towards all creatures. This is the path of happiness, while letting your audiences put in all the Shastras. 27. The low-minded man does not make even the least effort in the pursuit of wisdom through fear of difficulties. If he has made any attempt, he stops when obstacles meet him. The noble-minded man may meet with repeated hindrances, but when he has once begun the pursuit of wisdom, he does not give it up. 28. Righteousness must be loved. Evil must be avoided. Even at the risk of death, a wicked man must not be spoken to. A poor man, even though he be a friend, must not be asked for alms. Even in adversity, the food must be constant, and the vow pulled by good and great men must be conformed to. Even if it be as difficult as to stand on the edge of its ward. The praise of firmness. 29. A lion, though overwhelmed by hunger and weakened by old age, though at the point of death and in a state of misery, and though his majesty may have left him and his life vanishing away, yet his whole desire is to swallow at one mouthful the forehead and the kingly elephant which he has crushed in pieces. How should he, the mightiest of living things, feed upon withered grass? 30. A dog rejoices over a small filthy bone of an ox which he has found stripped of flesh, though it satisfies not his hunger, but a lion passes by a jackal standing near him and attacks the elephant. So the man of firm mind, even though he may be in distress, desires that which is in accordance with his natural disposition. 31. The dog falls down low before the feet of one who gives him food, wagging his tail and opening his mouth wide, while the elephant, on the other hand, remains unmoved and only eats after he is entreated with flattering words. 32. What man is not born again while he passes from one birth to another? But that man only is truly born by whose birth his family attains to dignity. 33. There are two uses, both for God and the flowers, and also for wise man. They may be exalted on the head or wither in the forest. 34. Although the 5 or 6 planets of which he has as the head are held in high esteem at Rahu, whose power and might are great, does not attack them. The lord of the demons, though he has nothing left him but his hat, differs in his course only the lord of the day and the ruler of the night. 35. Shishak bears all the worlds placed on his serpent-like head. He himself is always borne on the back of the king of the tortoises, who dwells held without difficulty in the bounds of ocean. With what ease do the mighty perform great marvels. 36. The son of Uriah would have behaved far more nobly if he had allowed enraged Indra to cut off his wings with the thunderbolt, breathing forth huge masses of flame, and had not, when his father was helplessly subject to calamity, sought a refuge by throwing himself into the ocean. 37. The sunstone, though insensate, is kindled into light when touched by the rays of the sun. How then should a mighty man bear an injury inflicted by another? 38. The lion, though young, attacks the elephant, infuriated with passion. The energy of the noble-minded man proceeds from his natural disposition, not from his youth. Praise of riches. 39. An old bird may go to the lower regions, our virtues may perish, our moral character may fall, as if from a lofty mountain. Our family may be consumed by fire, the thunderbolt may strike our might as it were an enemy. Let us keep our money, for without this all the collective virtues are but a heap of grass. 40. These are all the same senses, exactly the same action, the same intellect, undiminished, the same voice, but though a man may remain exactly what he was, yet when deprived of the warmth which wealth gives him, he becomes someone altogether different. This is indeed wonderful. 41. If a man be wealthy, he is of good family, he is wise, he is learned in the scriptures, his virtues eloquent, beautiful. All the virtues attach themselves to God. 42. A king is ruined through evil counselors, an ascetic through society, a child by spoiling, a priest by not studying the sacred scriptures, a family by the evil behavior of children, good manners by evil habits, modesty by wine, agriculture by want of care, affection by absence from home, friendship by want of love, possessions by mismanagement, money by waste and prodigality. 43. Giving, consuming, and loss are the three ways by which wealth is diminished. A man who neither gives nor spends has yet the third way open to him. 44. A jewel is caught by the polishing stone, a conqueror in war is killed by weapons. The elephant is weakened by passion. The island and the river become dry. In the autumn, the moon wanes. Young women become languid through pleasure, yet is their beauty nothing lessened? So noble men who have diminished their wealth by giving, and the needy are still illustrious. 45. A man, his famishing longs for a handful of grain, while when he has revived, he looks on the whole earth as a mere handful of grass. Subjects seem great or small according to the condition of the man who possesses them. It is the change in man's fortune which makes things seem greater or smaller. 46. If, O king, if you will enjoy this earth, which is as fruitful as a cow, nourish it as carefully as you would a calf. The earth brings forth broods without and light creeper of plenty if it is perpetually and carefully cultivated. 47. Behavior of kings is as uncertain as a way of purchasing. Now it is a false, now true. Now with harsh, now with agreeable words, now cruel, now merciful. At one time liberal, at another covetous, either always squandering money or heaping it together. 48. Authority, fame, the guarding of Brahmas. Liberality, feasting, protection of friends. What profit is there? Those who serve kings, they have not gained these 6 blessings. 49. Whatever fate has written on the forehead of each, that shall he obtain, whether it be poverty or riches. His abode may be the desert, but he shall gain no more if he live even on Mount Meru. Let your mind be constant. Do not be miserable through envy of the rich. The pitcher takes up the same quantity of water, whether it be from the well or the ocean. 50. Who does not know that thou, O cloud, are the one support of the Jataka? Why, a most beneficent cloud, dost thou wait for a cry of misery? 51. Ah, beloved Jataka, hear and listen attentively. Will I have thee? The heavens have many clouds, but they are not all alike. Some water the earth, others thunder and pour forth no rain. Do not degrade yourself by asking alms of any one whom you may chance to meet. Concerning evil man. 52. Cruelty, causeless cowards, will sigh for marriage wife, for money, envy of the good, or of one's own relatives. These are the natural characteristics of wicked man. 53. An evil man should be avoided, though he be adorned with learning. Is a snake less feared because it is ornamented with jewels? 54. The moderate man's virtue is called dullness. The man who lives by rigid vows is considered arrogant. The pure-minded is deceitful. The hero is called unmerciful. The sage is contemptuous. The polite man is branded as servile. The noble man is proud. The eloquent man is called etc. Freedom from passion is said to be feebleness. Thus, you evil-minded persons miscall the virtues of the good. 55. If a man be greedy, what further vice can he add? What sin can be worse than backbiting? What need has the truthful man of penances? What need has the pure-minded man of a sacred bathing place? What virtue is beyond generosity? If there be greatness of mind, what adornment is required? If a man be learned, what necessity is there of the society of others? If disgrace overtake a man, why need he fear death? 56. The moon obscured by the daylight, a woman no longer young, a pond destitute of water lilies, a handsome man who talks nonsense, prince entirely devoted to money, a good man always in comedy, an evil man dwelling in a king's court. These are 7 thoughts in my mind. 57. A king full of wrath hath no friend. The sacred fire burns even the priest who offers the sacrifice if he touches it. 58. The man who preserves a respectful silence is considered dumb. The man who talks agreeably is considered forward. The man who stands close by is thought troublesome. He who stands far off, cold-hearted. The painted man is counted as faint-hearted. The impetuous man is called ill-bred. So difficult indeed are the rules by which behavior is regulated, impossible to be learned even by an ascetic. 59. Is it possible to take pleasure in the society of a low man? dissolute, whose evil is all evident, whose wicked acts are the result of former births, who hates virtue and who lives by chance. 60. The friendships formed between good and evil men differ. The friendship of the good, at first faint like the morning light, continually increases. The friendship of the evil, at the very beginning, is great like the light of midday, and dies away like the light of evening. 61. Deer, fish, and which is man, who only cry grass, water, and peace in the world, are wantonly pursued by huntsmen, fishermen, and envious people. The character of the good. 62. Desire for the companionship of the good, law for the virtues of others, reverence for spiritual teachers, diligence in acquiring wisdom, love for their own wives, fear of the world's blame, reverence for Shiva, self-restraint, freedom from the acquaintance. With evil man, wherever man will, endowed with virtues like these, they are always referenced. 63. Firmness and adversity, restraint in prosperity, eloquence and the assembly, boldness and war, the desire of bloody study in the scriptures. These are the natural characteristics of the virtues. 64. Secret, generosity, cheerful hospitality to strangers, not speaking in public about one's own good deeds, proclaiming the benefits received from others, freedom from pride and prosperity, due respect and speaking of others. This is the vow of exceeding difficulty taught by the good. 65. Liberality is the fitting virtue for the hand reference towards spiritual teachers, or for the head true speech, for the mouth surpassing power, for the arms of a mighty man content, for the heart the holy air, rightly understood, for the ears a man of noble mind, who is the possessor of these adornments has no need of outward pomp. 66. The heart of the wise is soft as a lotus flower in prosperity, of an adversity. It is as firm as a mountain rock. 67. Water will not remain on hot iron, but standing on the latest leaf it shines with the beauty of the bird, and if a drop of water fall under a favorable star into the middle of an oyster in the sea, it straightway becomes a pearl. So is the disposition of man, good, tolerable, or bad, according to the society in which they live. 68. The son who delights his father by his good actions, the wife who seeks only her husband's good, the friend who is the same in prosperity and adversity. These three things are the reward of virtue. 69. Those who are noble by humility, those who display their own virtues by relating the virtues of all men, those who in their own business always consider the interests of others, those who hate the evil speaker and the mouth that continually utters harsh and impatient words, good men whose admirable behavior is shown in virtues like these are always held in reverence, who would not respect them. Ray of the reality. 17. Trees loaded with fruit are bent down, the clouds, when charged with fresh rain, hang down near the earth. Even so good men are not uplifted through prosperity. Such is the natural character of the liberal. 71. The ears of such men as these are adorned with hearing revelation, not with earnings. Their hands with liberality, not with bracelets. Their bodies shine through doing kind deeds to others, not with ointment of sandalwood. 72. The good man shuns evil and follows good. He keeps secret that which ought to be hidden. He makes his virtue manifest to all. He does not forsake one in adversity. He gives in season. Such, according to the wise, are the marks of a worthy friend. 73. The sun opens lotuses. The moon illuminates the bats of water lilies. The cloud pours forth its water unsaked. Even so, the liberal of their own accord are occupied in benefiting others. 74. Those men are good men who study the good of others without regarding themselves. Those men are ordinary men who, while they benefit others, do not neglect their own interests. Those men are beings who destroy another's good for their own profit. What shall we call those who aimlessly destroy that which is in others? 75. The milk that has been joined to the water has long since given over to it its own innate qualities. The water has seen the milk growing hot and has immediately made an offering of itself in the fire. The milk was eager to rush into the fire, but having seen its friend's distress, remained still, being joined to the water. Even so is the friendship of the good. 76. The ocean endures the sleep of Gesha, and is a refuge for the mountains in their fight from the demons. Moreover, it is filled with devouring flames within. Surely, the ocean can endure anything. 77. Restrain desire, cultivate patience, conquer illusion. Do not lust after evil. Speak the truth, follow that which is good. Seek the company of the virtuous, honor the wise. Be reconciled, even with enemies. Conceal your own virtues. Guard your good name. Show pity for the unfortunate. These are the acts of the good. 78. How many noble men are there whose thoughts, words, and deeds are, as it were, filled with nectar, by whom the three worlds are loaded with blessings, who exalt even the very smallest virtues, of others to the size of a mountain, whose hearts are constantly expanding. 79. What profit is there in Meru, a mountain of gold, or of the hill of silver, where the trees are grown, remain the same trees without any change? We honor the hills of Malaya, for by contact with them common trees, like the trophies, aspera, the bitter nimba, and the gareya, become themselves even as sandal trees. Which praise of constancy, 80. The gods rested not until they had gained possession of the nectar. They were not turned aside from the search by pearls of great price, nor by a fear harrow person. Even some men of constant mind do not rest until they have completely accomplished their object. 81. At one time, man may lie on ground, at another he may sleep on a couch. At one time he may live on herbs, at another on boiled rice. At one time he may wear rags, at another a magnificent robe. The man of constant mind, bent on his purpose, counts neither state as pleasure nor pain. 82. Courtesy is the ornament of a noble man, and gentleness of speech that of a hero, wholeness, the ornament of knowledge, reverence, that of a sacred learning, liberality towards worthy objects is the ornament of wealth, freedom from wrath, that, on the ascetic clemency, is the ornament of princes, freedom from corruption, that of justice, the natural disposition, which is the parent of the virtues, and each is their highest ornament. 83. The constant man may be blamed or praised by those good in the scoring character. Fortune may come to him, or many leave him. He may die today, or in 10,000 years' time. But for all that, he does not turn aside from the path of righteousness. The power of fate. 84. Wrath fell one night into the jaws of a serpent whose body had been squeeze into your basket, and who was half that with hunger? The serpent, renewed by his meal, went forth, and immediately meeting with the same fate as the rat perished. Be content, O my friends, with your lot. The success of failure for man is the hands of fate. 85. Ward 44. You rub thyself again by your stroke of the hand. Even so, the misfortunes of a good man are not often lasting. 86. Idleness is a great enemy to mankind. There is no friend like energy, for if you cultivate that, it will never fail. 87. The tree that is cut down goes again. The moon that wanes waxes again after a time. Thus, you wise man, reflect, and though distressed, are not overwhelmed. 88. Indra, though guided by he has steady an arm with a thunderbolt. Though the deities were his soldiers and Vishnu, his ally, though Vairâgya was his citadel, and the elephant, Rasata, his steed, was defeated. How resistless is the power of fate! How vain are human efforts! 89. Discernment is a fruit of man's actions, and is the result pronounced by deeds performed in the knowledge state. This must be carefully considered by the wise man who gives heed to all things. 90. The bald-headed man was scorched by the rays of the sun on his head, and seeking a shady place went, under the guidance of fate, to the foot of the palm tree. While resting there, the fruit of the tree fell with the long knobs on his head and broke it. Even so, wherever the unfortunate man goes, he generally meets with disaster. 91. When I see the sun and moon exposed in the eclipse, the results of the demon, when I behold the bonds which hold a serpent or an elephant, when I behold the wise man in poverty, then the thought strikes me how mighty is the power of fate. 92. Fate brings forth an excellent man, a very mind of virtue, and in a moment walks his ruin. S. How unreasoning is the action of fate. 93. It is not the fault of the spring that the leafless tree does not produce leaves. It is not the fault of the sun that the earth cannot see by day. It is not the fault of the rain cloud that drops do not fail into the cuckoo's mouth. Who shall reverse that which fate has written on the forehead of each? The praise of action. 94. We worship the gods. Or are they not in the power of fate? Destiny must be worshipped, for that is the sole giver of rewards, a man proportioned to the acts of their former state. But the fruit of those acts depends upon the acts of themselves. Why then should we worship either the god or destiny? Let us pay revelation for those works for which fate has no power. 95. By means of destiny, Braha was constrained to walk like an artificer in the interior of his act. By means of destiny, Vishnu was compelled to pass through 10 incarnations of great difficulty. By means of destiny, Shiva was forced to live as a medicine, bearing the skull in his hands. Or hot, by means of destiny, the sun was compelled to travel his daily course in the heaven. Adoration, therefore, be it who walks. 96. Neither beauty, nor greatness of family, nor force, or character, nor learning, nor service, though performed with care but merit alone, gained from penance and a former state, will bring forth fruit to man as a tree in its season. 97. A man may be in a forest or in war, or in the midst of fire, or among a host of enemies, or in the ocean, or upon a high mountain. He may be asleep or mad, or he may be surrounded by difficulties. Yet the good actions of the former state will profit him. 98. A wise man cultivate constantly the one virtue, for that makes evil man good. The foolish wise, enemies well disposed, invisible things visible, and the movement of that turns poison into nectar that will give you the desired fruit of your acts. A virtuous man. Do not vainly spend labor on acquiring mighty gifts with great pain. 99. The wise man, at the beginning of his actions, looks carefully to the end of them. What by that means he may be freed from births and another state. Actions performed with excessive haste are even as an arrow piercing the heart. 100. The man who placed an order of action does not walk wisely regarding his state hereafter, is as the one who cooks reeds of a season over sandalwood fire in a cauldron of lapis lazuli, or as one who plucks with the golden shear to cultivate swell wood, or as one who cuts down a grove of camphor to fence and feeder for the 101. A man may dive, as you see, in a scan to the top of Mount Meru. He may be victorious over his enemies. He may devote himself to merchandise. He may clock the earth. He may study all learning and all art. He may travel on the wings of a bird from one end of heaven to the other. But yet he shall suffer that which is fated him on earth. Neither shall that fail which is destined for him. 102. The terrible worldly Thames, a splendid city, and the whole world is filled with jewels. That man who has performed righteous acts in his former existence, all man references virtues. Supplementary to cost. 103. What is most profitable? Fellowship with the good? What is the worst thing in the world? The society of evil man. What is the greatest loss? Failure in one's duty. Where are the greatest peace in truth and righteousness? Who is the hero? The man who subdues his senses, who is best beloved, the faithful wife. What is wealth? Knowledge. What is the most perfect happiness? Staying at home. What is royalty? Command. 104. The man who possesses intelligence, like the jasmine flower, has two courses open to him. He may flourish on the side of the world. He may wither away in the desert. 105. The earth is variously adorned in various places by a poor man whose walls are of no account, by a rich man whose walls are admired by those contented with their own wives, by men who refrain from passing censure upon others. 106. A constant man loses not his virtue in misfortune. A torch may point towards the ground, but its flame will still point upwards. 107. The mind of the constant man is not pierced by the arrows shot from the glances of the law. He is not consumed by the fire of anger. Worldly objects do not ensnare him in an act of covetousness. He is the lord of the very worlds. The mighty earth, trodden by the feet of one hero, is lightened up with its exceeding great glories, though one shining of the sun. 109. Through the power of constancy, fire comes even as water. The ocean becomes but a real Mount Meru comes only a small stone. A lion becomes as harmless as an antelope. A savage beast comes a garland of flowers. Poison is turned into nectar. The constant man, by his constancy, turns the savage things of nature into the most gentle. 110. Honorable men make haste to solid life and happiness, but inasmuch as they are intent upon truth, they do not cast off their truthfulness. The course of modesty and all of the virtues following them, wherever they may go, pure and hard, even as dear to them as their own mother. Vairâgya Shatakam. 1. Mor's heart, a face exalted with inward pride, a nature difficult as an exceeding narrow mountain pass. This is known as the character of a woman. Their mind is sad by the wise, to be as changeable as the drop of dew which rests upon the lotus leaf. Faults indeed develop in a woman, together with her growth, as the poisonous shoots spread in a creeper. 2. Further, a brave man who is skilled in the foremost of the fight obtain heaven or victory. He will gain great glory from both armies. This is the aim of one who is on his fame. 3. Of all exceeding marvels which I behold, the boar and the rahu bear away upon. One bore the ground earth on his tusks, which dripped with water. The other, his only head, swallows his foe and then lets him go down. 4. The earth is bounded by the ocean. The ocean extends on 1,000 yojanas. The sun always measures his course through the sky. These objects then are bounded by certain definite limits. There is nothing exceeding them in greatness but the intelligence of wise man, which has no limits. 5. There is one divinity, Esha or Shiva, one friend, a king or an ascetic, one dwelling in the town or in the forest, one wife, handsome or ugly. It matters not which a man may choose. 6. A war, though it be supported on the king of the serpents, or the elephants that bear it up, on the great mountains, and on the Tartars, shakes, but that which has been promised by man of pure minds never fails, even though aged have passed away. 7. The tortoise is pained through the weight of the earth. Why then does he not cast it off? The sun feeds fatigue in his course. Why then does he not stand still? Looking on these examples, no man is ashamed to fail in his promises. He faithfully keeps his word. Thus arose captain of family of a good man. 8. When a man is satisfied with food, he enters into subjection to a war. Even so, a drum sends forth an agreeable sound when its surface is covered with flour. 9. Low-minded men are occupied solely with their own affairs. Well, noble-minded man takes special interest in the affairs of others. The sultry fire drinks off the ocean to fill its own insatiable interior, a winged cloud that it may relieve the drought of the earth, ramped up by hot season. 10. The concert truly, like the poet, is never free from a load of trouble. He collects new meanings or revenue from afar. and what all vulgar expressions or common rumors, he devotes himself to pleasing the assemblies of the good. With toil and labor he makes a quarter of a verse or place by comforting the thoughts of the world. 11. Whoever has been appointed by fate in this life for each man, that shall be his lot. Be it great or small, the cloud rains day by day, filling all things, but only a few little drops fall into the Satakas mouth. 12. Wise must be respected, even when the advice they give us is not suitable. The ordinary converse of such man is like holy writ. 13. A good man may fall, but he falls as a ball. An ignorant man falls like a lump of clay. 14. If by the decree of fate, world wherever to become deprived of flow to cease, not to swan scratch, and the last heap like the cook. 15. Elephants, filled with passion, heavy with sleep, may stand at the gate. Horses armed with golden ornaments may gallop about filled with spirit. Their owner may be awakened from his sleep by the sound of runs, honks, cymbals, fifes, and lutes. All this, the state like that of the Lord of the deities, is a reward outwardly displayed of religious merit gained in former births. 16. The joy of those whose minds are alive. The happiness of content is perfect, but the desire of those who are disturbed by the lust after riches never ceases. For whose sake was Meru created by fate full of wealth as it is? Heru pleases me not, though it is filled with an abundance of gold and silver, since it is satisfied with itself alone. 17. The red color of the lotus, care for others displayed by the good, the want of respect shown by the bad, this is a train of qualities brought to perfection in each class by means of its own innate disposition. 18. Faithfulness in promises is the noblest quality among men. Leanness is the best quality for female elephant. Wisdom and patience has become the Brahma. Each creature is best adorned by its own special ornament. 19. It is better to fall from the highest point of lofty mountain and be dashed to pieces among the rocks. It is better that one's head should be bitten by the poisonous fangs of dreadful serpent. It is better to fall into the fire than that one's piety should fail. 20. If thou thinkst to behold noble-minded men fall from their firmness and misfortune, cease from evil efforts and wandering idle speculations. O fool! Even at the end of ages, the mighty mountains do not become small, nor does the ocean lose the powers that belong to it. 21. Glory, conquering all things, tears the bosom of man as an impudent and forward woman with her nails long and sharp like swords. 22. Even moon's storehouse of ambrosia, guide of the plants which grow year by year, compacted of nectar and filled with beauty, becomes shorn of its beams directly and reaches the region of the sun. Who does not fall into contempt directly he enters the house of another? 23. Girds with glances of admiration, house filled with magnificence, prosperity attended with outward signs of royalty. These are man's portion as long as fortune advance him. But If that fails, all these things disappear like the pearls of a necklace whose string has been broken in play. Vairâgya Shatakam. Concerning renunciation. 1. Salutation to a deity who is not definable in time or space, infinite, pure intelligence, and incarnate form, who is in peace and glory, whose soul essence is self-knowledge. The evil qualities of desire. 2. Lured men are eaten up with jealousy, mighty men are spoiled through pride, the minds of some men are obscured through ignorance, and therefore the eloquent teachings of science are neglected. 3. When I look through the world, I see no profit in any action. The result of good actions makes me afraid when I reflect on them. For the great enjoyments gained after long continuance and the practice of great virtues hinder man from perfect liberation, since they are attracted, they are objects of sense. 4. I have dug up the earth to find treasure. I have smelted minerals. I have crossed the sea. I have conciliated kings with a great effort. I have spent my nights in the cemetery. I have labored to acquire religious knowledge, but my efforts are all vain. Your sire, will thou not leave me? 5. I have wandered over lands crossed with difficulty, but I have gained no fruit. I have put away from me my pride of family. I have performed services that have profited me nothing. I have cast off my self-respect and have eaten like a cow in a stranger's house, but yet, desire, thou dost still increase, ever given to evil, and are never satisfied. 6. I have suffered the abuse of evil men in hope of gain. I have repressed my tears and forced laughter through my heart was war. I have restrained my feelings. I have bowed myself before fools. So desire, foolish desire, will thou lead me get further? 7. Day by day, Allah's lips away from us, while the sun rises and sets. Our business is so great and weighty that the flight of time escapes us. We will birth, pain, old age, ending in death, and yet we are not afraid. We are, as it were, intoxicated. We have drunk of the wine of infatuation. 8. If one were to see his wife overcome by hunger, her garments old and torn, her children hanging round her, crying with pinched, unhappy faces, though he might fear refusal and stammer in speech, then would he ask alms, but he would not beg to satisfy his own wants. 9. Our desire for pleasure fades. Respect is no longer paid by us the world. Our equals in age have gone to Saga. Our friends, whom we love even as ourselves, will soon follow. We walk slowly, supported by a stick. Our eyes are dim. As our body is subdued, it trembles at the approach of death. 10. It has been ordained by the Creator that the serpents shall gain their livelihood on earth without effort and without injury to others. The cattle have been created eating shoots of grass and lying on the ground. The same mood of living has been appointed for man who pass over the ocean of this world with subdued senses, and who seek to live in such way as this continually go on to perfection. 11. We have not meditated on the Supreme Being, bring future births to an end. We have not, through the energy of righteousness, been able to open for ourselves the door of Svarga. We have not embraced a woman even in imagination. We have only, if our life has been spent thus, destroyed the tree of youth which our mother gave us, as though we had cut it down with an axe. 12. We have gained no pleasure, but pleasure has taken us captive. We have not practiced penance, but we have suffered pain. In the pursuit of earthly joys, time never grows old, but all life passes away. 13. We have pardoned our injuries, but not for the sake of showing forgiveness. We have abandoned the pleasures of home, but not because we were willing to cast them aside. We have suffered pain from cold winds, but we have shrunk from penance because of its painfulness. We have thought night and day on the acquisition of wealth, but we have given no thought to the Supreme Being. We have performed all the acts which the sages have prescribed for us, but we have gained no fruits. 14. My face is covered with wrinkles, my head is grey, my limbs are feeble, but desire alone is ever strong in me. 15. The same piece of sky which encircles the moon by night, that encircles the sun by day. Ah, how great is the labour of both. 16. Objects of sense, however long they may be with us, must one day depart. But there is this difference between separating oneself from them and not giving them up. If they forsake us, we shall suffer unequal pain and grief. But if we forsake them of our own accord, we shall gain unending peace and happiness. The mighty power of desire. 17. Desire ceases in a man where self-restraint developed by means of true discrimination shines forth in him, while the end of desire increases yet more and more in a lofty contact with world objects. By this means even Indra himself, the king of the winds, is the prey of desire, and as much as he is wretched because of the appetite which he feels for his royal position, a position decrepit through age, the great distress caused by love. 18. The dog, wretched, robbed, lame, thief, without a tail, and covered with sores, overcome with hunger, and with a piece of broken pot tied round his neck, still runs after his mate. Love destroys even that which is already dead. The mighty power of objects of sense. 19. A man may live by begging. His food may be tasteless, only enough for one meal. His bed may be the bare earth. He may have no attendant but himself. His clothes may be in 1,000 pieces through age, hardly able to hold together. Alas, even then objects of sense do not quit their hold over him. Dispraise of beauty. 20. The beauties of a woman are praised by the elegant poets. Her breast is compared to 2 pots of gold, her face on a moon, her lips to the forehead of an elephant. But yet the beauty of a woman does not merit praise. 21. A moth may fall into the flame of a candle through ignorance. A fish may take a piece of meat fastened to a hook, not knowing what it is. But we, who know perfectly the many entanglements of fortune, yet do not give up our desire. Oh, what a thicket of arrow do we wander! The setting forth of evil man. 22. Lotus fiber is enough for our food. Water is sufficient for us to drink. We may lie on the bare earth. We may be clothed in bark raiment. I approve not the evil behavior of mad man, whose senses are led astray through the thirst for gold. Setting forth the state of honor. 23. This created world was ruled in former times by great sages, but others afterward it was cast away like straw after they had conquered it. Even our heroes rule 14 divisions of the world. Whence, then, is the favourite desire that men have for a few cities. 24. Thou art king. I am of the number of the spiritual teachers honoured, for by my wisdom by the world Thy riches are celebrated, my fame is celebrated by poets. Thus, O giver of blessings, there is not a great interval between us. Thou hast thy face averted from me, but yet I have no desire for thy favor. The setting forth of freedom from desire. 25. Hundreds of princes always have been, and always are, incessantly disputing for the possession of earthly enjoyments, and still kings do not abandon pride in their possessions. Owners of the earth in their fully display delight in the acquirement of even the very smallest particle, while, on the contrary, they ought to manifest sorrow. 26. This earth is but an atom of clay surrounded by the line of ocean. Kings have subdued it in hundreds of battles and have divided it among themselves. These wicked, contemptible men might give all, they might not. There is no wonder that. Shame on those low-minded persons who beg alms for them. A description of evil servitude. 27. I am not an actor. I am not a courtesan. I am not a singer. I am not a buffoon. I am not a beautiful woman. What have I to do with kings' palaces? 28. Wisdom was employed to gain relief from pain. Afterwards it began to be used for the attainment of pleasure. Now, alas, men who dwell on the earth hardly care nothing for the sacred wisdom, therefore day by day it goes farther from them. The setting forth of egotism or pride. 29. That man is truly born great, whose white scarf is worn by Shiva, the enemy of power, as an ornament lifted up on high. What means that this unequal burden of pride which kings now display, who are worshipped by other men, intent solely on saving their royal lives? 30. There are the lord of wealth, I of speech, thou art the hero in war. My skill is shown in subduing the proud by the power of my eloquence. Man, bow down before thee, but I listen to me that their minds may be purified. If, O king, thou hast no desire for me, still less is my desire for thee. 31. When I was possessed of a small amount of knowledge, my mind was filled with pride, even as an elephant that was blinded by passion. I thought within myself that I knew everything, and I had learned many things from wise men. I discovered my foolishness, and my mad excitement left me. Omission of indifference. 32. Time has gone by, passed without difficulty, through the pleasing society of beautiful women. We are weary through our long wanderings in the path of transmigrations. We lie on the banks of Shiva's own river, and we invoke him with praising cries, calling Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. 33. When honor has fled, when wealth is lost, when one's desire has departed and one has gained nothing, when consolations are dead, one's friends have vanished, one's youth has faded by degrees, then there is only one thing left for a wise man, dwelling in a mountain cave, whose rocks are purified by the stream of the Ganges. 34. Why, O my heart, as thou attempt day by day to conciliate the favour of others, bringing forth no fruit of thy toil? Surely, if a purified will were in thee, all thy desires would be fulfilled, and there would be no need to pay court to other men, for thou wouldst be at rest inwardly. The path of enjoyment. 35. In health there is the fear of disease, in pride of family the fear of a fool, in wealth the fear of a king, in honor the fear of a base man, in power the fear of enemies, in beauty the fear of old age, in the scriptures the fear of controversy, in worship the fear of evil, in the body of fear of death. Everything on earth is beset by fear. The only freedom from fear is the renunciation of desire. 36. Lord, have we not attempted, for the sake of those lives of ours which are as unstable as the drop of water on the lotus leaf? Even we commit sin by boasting of our own virtues shamelessly before those rich men whose minds are senseless through the intoxicating power of wealth. 37. Homage be to time. The lights of the city, the great king with his crowds of courtiers, the councillors which stand before him, women with faces beautiful as the moon, the assembly of haughty princes, bards, reciters, these are all borne away by time and become but a memory. Setting forth of Naya. 38. Those from whom we were born have long since departed. Those with whom we grew up exist only in memory. We too, through the approach of death, become, as it were, trees growing on the sandy bank of a river. 39. The house where there were many, no, there is but one. Where there was but one, there were many, and then again but one. So, and I toss day and night, backward and forward, as though they were dice, and play with man on the chessboard of this world as if they were chessmen. 40. Shall we dwell beside the divine river in a life of penance, or shall we desire a society of virtuous women? Or shall we study the multitude of the scriptures, whose poetry is even as active? We know not what we shall do, seeing the life of man endures but the twinkling of an eye. 41. Surely retreats and the Himalayas, where the Vidyadharas roll among the rocks, cool by the spray of the Ganges, must have ceased to exist since man enjoy that sustenance which they have gained from others to their own disgrace. 42. When may we sit at peace on the banks of the heavenly river, whose banks of sand are dazzling white in the moonlight? And when shall we, when the nights are perfectly still, rude with the sanctity of the world, utter cries of Shiva, 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 while the tears flow from our eyes? 43. Mahadeva is the God we worship, and this river is the heavenly river. These caves are a dwelling, the abode of Hari. Aya, moreover, is our friend. And the rule of life which we observe has freedom from humiliation. What more need I say on this matter? 44. Dance falls from heaven on the head of Shiva, from the head of Shiva on the mountain, from the top of the mountain to the earth, always falling lower and lower, even in so many ways, and as the fall of one whose judgment has departed from him. 45. Sire is like a river. Its waters are man's wishes. Agitated by the waves of desire, law takes the place of crocodiles. The birds of it fly about it other doubts which haunt the mind. The tree of firmness growing on the bank is washed away by a flood. The whirlpools of error are very difficult to cross. The lofty banks are the cares of life. The ascetics who, pure in heart, have succeeded in crossing it successfully are filled with joy. 46. As we look at the ever-changing three worlds, the desire hidden with us, violently attracted towards objects of sense, seizes across the path of our eyes, or to enter into the way of our ears, for we have subdued the objects of sense which produce desire in us, and hold them bound by devotion, as an elephant attracted by his mate is kept from it by being tied to a post. 47. My days once seemed long when I used to suffer pain through asking favors from rich men, and they seemed too short for me to carry out all my aims, filled as they were with a desire for earthly objects. Now I sit on a stone in a mountain cave, and in the intervals of my meditation I am filled with laughter at the recollection of my former life. 48. Wisdom has not been gained free from spot. Wealth has not been acquired. Reverence towards our elders has not been practiced by us. We have not even dreamt of law. If this has been our existence, then have we lived the life even like the life of a crow, which hungers for the food of others. 49. When all our wealth is gone, then with hearts full of tenderness, recollecting how the path of action and the wall leads to evil, we, in a sacred grove, with the rays of the autumn moon shining on us, will pause our nights, occupied alone in meditation at the feet of Shiva. 50. I am satisfied with bare clothing, thou takest pleasure in thy magnificence. There is no difference between the contentment of both of us. The man whose desires are unlimited is poor indeed. Who that is satisfied with what he has can be either rich or poor. 51. Relaxation from toil at one's own will. Food gained without degradation, friendship with noble-minded man, a mind not agitated by contact with external things. This is a result of the highest row of tranquility. I know not, though I have carefully thought thereupon, by what strict penance this perfect state may be gained. 52. The hand serves for a cup. Food is gained by begging. The sky, with its pure expanse, serves for garment. The earth is a couch. Those whose freedom from attraction to objects of sense has been brought to such perfection as this are fortunate, contented in their own minds, and they uproot action, casting away all the many forms of pain which attend upon it. 53. Masters are difficult to place. Kings change from one thing to another in their minds with the swiftness of horses. Our desires are great, and our minds aim at high things. Old age consumes our bodies. Death puts an end to our lives. Oh, my friends, there is no glory in this world for a wise man, but that which he gains by penance. 54. Pleasure is like the lightning that flashes in the canopy of cloud. Life is like floating clouds that are torn asunder by the storm. The ardent desires of the young are transitory, a wise man. You who know the uncertainty of human efforts, gain wisdom or meditation on the supreme spirit of perfection is easily gained by means of constant contemplation. 55. A man who's wise and understanding, being pained by hunger, will go from door to door throughout the huts of a sacred village and will beg alms where he sees the doorpost blackened by the smoke of the sacrifices offered by the learned priests to dwell within, and he will bear before him his pot covered with a white cloth. He will not live in misery from day to day among families as wretched as himself. 56. Are you a Chandara? Are you a Brahman? Are you a Shudra? Or an ascetic? Or a lord? of the ocean, whose mind is skilled in meditating on the truth? Ascetics, when men ask them such questions as these with loud voices, feel neither pleasure nor anger, but pursue their course in quietness. 57. Oh, my friend, fortunate are those who have cast off the many bonds of this world, and from within whose minds desire for earthly objects like the poison of a serpent has departed. They spend the night bright with the clear shining of the autumn moon in the border of the forest, thinking of nothing but the greatness of their good fortune. 58. Cease to wander wearily in the thicket of sense. Seek that better way which, on a moment, brings freedom from trouble. Unite thyself to the Supreme Spirit, and abandon thy own state as unsteady as the waves. Take no more pleasure in things perishable. Calm, O my heart. 59. O my friend, live in fruits and nuts. Lie on the barrow ground. Let us rise up and go into the forest clothed in new soft bark garments. In that retreat we shall not hear the voices of those rich men whose minds are blind through ignorance, and whose voices are troubled through the confusion of their minds. 60. O my mind, let the illusion which envelops thee be cleared away. Pay devotion to the god of the moon crest, who takes delusion away from man. Fix your thought on the stream of the heavenly river, for what certainty is there in earthly things, in waves and bubbles, or in the flashes of lightning, or in women, or in the tongues of flame, or in serpents, or in the rushing of a stream. 61. If there are songs before thee, if there are elegant poets from the southern regions on one side of thee, if behind damsels bearing the fans with tinkling anklets, taste, my friend, the pleasures of sense which thou mayst gain from these things, if thou hast them not, then plunge, O my mind, into the wild contemplation, freeing thee from all thought. 62. Wise man, have nothing to do with women who are only pleasing from their beauty and whose society is a transitory delight. Rather, follow after women who are compassionate, amiable, and intelligent. The beautiful forms of women adorned with twinkling jewels will not avail thee in that. 63. Abstinence from strong life, keeping one's hands off another's wealth. Speaking the truth, seasonable liberality according to one's power, not conversing with the wives of other men, checking the stream of covetousness, reverence towards spiritual fathers, compassion towards all creatures. This is the path of happiness, violating new audiences. Talk, Vairâgya Shatakam. 64. O mother Lakshmi, grant me yet further that I may not be filled with desire, may I not be filled with the longing of the pleasure, purifying myself with a vessel of leaves joined together. May I gain my livelihood by means of the barely gain which I have backed. 65. You were to me even as myself, I was as yourself to you. Such were our feelings to one another. How has it come about that we have been changed, and that we no more feel the same sympathy one for another? Oh, woman, why dost thou shut forth at me those beautiful glances from our half-open eyes? Cease, cease! I toil is in vain. I am as it were changed. My youth has departed from me. My dwelling is in a forest. My infatuation has left me. I look on the favours of this world only as so much grass. 67. This woman, with eyes that have stolen the beauty of the lotus, unceasingly casts me, glances towards me. What does she wish? My infatuation has departed. The arrows of true love, producing a moderate heat and favor, have left me. 68. Is not a palace delightful to dwell in? Are not songs charming to hear? Is not the society of brands whom we love as our own lives alluring? Here the wise man retire away from all these things into the forest, considering them like the light of a lamp which burns unsteadily through the wind or the wings of a wandering moth. 69. Are there no more roots growing in the caves? Have the mountain torrents ceased to flow? Do the trees no longer bear fruit? Has the bark with which you might gain your clothing withered on the trees, or that you cast off your self-respect, and fall down before holy men who have gained a little wealth with difficulty, and who regard you with supercilious contempt? 70. Surely the retreats of the Himalayas, the abode of the Vidyadharas, where the rocks are cooled by the spray of the Ganges, surely these places must have ceased to exist, since man enjoy food which they gain from others to their own disgrace. 71. When Nîti, the magnificent mountain, falls from its place, destroyed at the end of the age, when the ocean, the abode of multitudes of great monsters, is dried up, when the earth, resting on her mountains, come to an end, how can there be any abiding place for the body which is as unsustainable as the ear of a young elephant? 72. When shall I, O Shiva, whose drinking cup is my hand, who have no garment but the sky, who live solitary, peaceful, free from desire, able to uproot action, when shall I attain to union with the Supreme Soul? 73. Thou mayst have gained glory, and the accomplishment of all thy desires, or further, thy food may have been placed on the neck of thine enemies, or further, thou mayst have bestowed thy riches on thy friends, what further, thou makest of thousands of use, what further. 74. One may have been clothed in rags, what then? One may have worn a magnificent silk garment, what then? One may have had only one wife, what then? Or a retinue of horses and elephants and attendants, what then? One may have enjoyed good fare, what then? Or eaten pure food at the end of the day, what then? What matters either state, if you know not the glory of the Supreme One who destroys all evils? 75. Thou hast paid worship to Shiva, thou hast lived, and the fear of death and birth and a future state, thou hast detached thyself from love for thy own family, thou hast not been blinded by love, thou hast dwelled in a forest apart from man, thou hast been freed from the evil contact of the world. If thou hast passed thy life thus, then thou hast Vairâgya, freedom from attachment to all things. 76. Meditate on the Supreme Being, who is eternal, who grows not old, above all things, expanding his own will. What profit is there in the delusions of the world if a man be truly seeking unity with the Supreme Being, or earthly pleasures and powers seem worthy only of the notice of low-minded men? 77. Oh my, thou canst enter that barrier. Thou canst skim over the heaven and cross the breadth of this world in a moment of thought. How is it that thou dost not even by accident meditate on the Supreme Being, who is spotless, dwelling within himself, so thou mightest gain tranquility? 78. We, as man, the word of intelligence, think within ourselves that day and night repeat themselves indefinitely, and so we run, each their tasks unswervingly, and we take up each separate walk where we lay it out. Alice, how is it that we are not ashamed of our folly? We endure the torments of this world while we are wholly occupied in enjoying the same objects of sense over and over again. 79. Earth is his delightful couch. The arms of the creepers are his pillow. The heaven is his canopy. The winds his fan. The moon is his twinkling lamp. The sage, rejoicing because he has been freed from desire, lives in peace and happiness as though he were the lord of the universe. 80. The man who has gained great power finds even the serenity of the universe tasteless. Do not seek pleasure in the enjoyment which comes from flattery, dress, or feasting, for the only delight which is supreme is everlasting and continually grows. Seize upon it, for compared with their sweetness, of that all the three wolves are the word of pleasure. 81. What profit is there in the Vedas, or in the city, or in the reading of the Vedas, or the highest Shastaks, or in the bewildering multitude of ceremonial acts which lead to an abode, to the tabernacles of heaven? All else is as the mere haggling of merchants in comparison with the final fire which will consume the creations of this wearisome burden of sorrow called existence, that fire which will make us enter into this sphere of joy and unite us with the Supreme Soul. AP2. Life is as uncertain as waves of the sea. The glory of youth remains but a short time. Wealth passes away like a thought. All the pleasure of world endures but the lightning flash through the heavens. Embraces off. You'll behold whom you clasp to your breast will not be for long. Direct your thoughts to the Supreme Being, for you must cross the sea of life with all its fears and alarms. 83. How should a wise man be anxious after a small portion of this world? Is some mighty ocean never stirred up by the gambols of a little fish? 84. When the darkness of love had filled me with ignorance, women seemed the only objects for which to live. Now, since I have anointed my eyes with the ointment of discrimination, the sight of all things has become clear to me, and I behold the three worlds as the Creator. 85. Delightful are the rays of the moon, delightful the grassy places of the forest, delightful the society of the beloved friends, delightful tales of the poets, delightful the face once beloved sparkling with the teardrops of rage, but who cares any more for these delights when his mind reflects on the race of divinity? 86. An ascetic life on alms, removed from man, self-controlled, walking on the path of indifference. Giving or not giving matters not which. He is clothed in a torn cloak, made from rags cast into the street. He has no pride, no self-consciousness. He is free from desire. His sole pleasure is rest and quietness. 87. O earth, my mother, wind, my father, O fire, my friend, O water, my consort, O sky, my brother. I salute you with my hands joined. I am full of glory through the merit which I have gained through my union with you, and may I enter into the Supreme Being. 88. As long as the tabernacle of the body is well and strong, as long as old age is far, as long as the senses are unimpaired, as long as there is no diminution of life, so long will the wise man make great efforts to gain eternal glory for himself. What is the use of digging well when the house is on fire? 89. We have not studied knowledge, while upon the earth knowledge which tames the hosts of disputants, and is suitable for well-trained man. Our fame has not been exalted to the skies, but as water points which splits the hard forehead of the elephant. We have not tasted the joys of the lower lip, of the soft mouth of the beloved one at the time of moon rising, as youth has passed fruitlessly like a lamp in an empty house. 19. In good man, knowledge is the destruction of pride. In others, it is the cause of haughtiness, solitary dwelling, frees ascetic from attraction to objects of sense. It is the cause of extreme attraction towards the eye and those who are wounded by it. 91. The desires in our own minds have faded. Youth has passed into old age. Even the better virtue in our own bodies have become barren, since they are no longer recognized as virtues. What can we do? All powerful time is hastening on, and death is coming on us to end our lives. What can we do when restored to the feet of Shiva? There is no other means of salvation for us. 92. When the mouth is dry, a man drinks water which is sweet to him. When pained with hunger, he eats rice and other vegetables. But he is mistaken if he imagines that the removal of the pain caused by hunger and thirst is a pleasure. I will bathe in the waters of Ganges. I will honor thee, O Lord, with pure fruits and flowers. I will meditate upon thee. I will sit on a couch of stone in a mountain cave. I will feed on fruits with peaceful mind. I will reverence the voice of my spiritual father. When shall I, lying at thy feet, O enemy of love, by thy favor be freed from the pain of desire, seeking alone the path of meditation? 94. Thou whose bed is a lap of rock, thou whose dwelling is a cave, whose clothes are the bark of trees, whose companions are the antelopes, whose food is the tender fruits, whose drink is water from the cascades, whose wife is the sciences, such as there are in thee, the Supreme Lord. They pay homage to no man. 95. Well, there is the Ganges near us, whose rays kiss the head of Shiva, and furnishes us abundant livelihood, with bar garments made from the banyan trees, that grow on its banks. What sage would even look at the face of woman, as they sit filled with extreme misery and with pain produced by the favor of calamity, unless he felt compassion for his distressed family? 96. If a wise man forsake the nice, alas, to what other place should they restore? For in the gardens of Benares are manifold pleasures and penances practiced of exceeding difficulty. A small ragged piece of cloth is looked upon as a splendid garment, and food without and many be gained by begging. Death in that place is even less festival. 97. Our Lord sleeps. Now is the time for his rest. You may not enter, for if he wake up and see you, he will be angry. So say the guardians at the palace gate. Pass them by and enter in the temple of that Lord who is the ruler of the universe, that shrine which gives boundless bliss, full of love, where the space of rock doorkeepers is not heard. 98. Dear friend, unyielding destiny, like an almighty potter, places the mind of man upon a wheel of care, like a lump of clay, and makes him revolve that wheel, which is ever moving through all the manifold evils of life, visiting man as though with a road of affliction. 99. There's no difference for me between Shiva, the Lord of the world, and the slave, Janu and Vishnu. the soul of the universe. Therefore I worship the deity who bears a moon crest. 100. I am satisfied with the divine voice which sheds forth words over my mind, sweeter than honey, richer than butter. Arms content me, but clothing satisfies me. I care nothing for wealth, gained in a state of slavery to objects of sense. 101. The ascetic may be clothed in rags. He may beg his livelihood. His bed may be in the roof of a cemetery. He may cease care for friend or foe. His habitation may be desolate, but he dwells in peace, rejoicing because the intoxication of pride has disappeared. 102. The many pleasures of which this world is made up are all transitory. Why then, man, do you roam about? Why take such pains to pursue them? Free your soul from the numberless bonds of desire, and let it enter into the abode peace which is destined for it, if you believe my words. 103. Blessed are those who dwell in the mountain caves, meditating on the glory of the Supreme. In their laps the birds perch fiercely and drink the tears of joy flowing from their eyes. As for us, our life passes away while we enjoy ourselves in groves or on the river banks, building castles in the air. 104. Every living thing is subject to death. Youth passes into old age. Contentment is destroyed by consciousness of the riches, peace of mind by the glances of beautiful women. The just are slandered by envious man. Forests are infested by serpents. Kings are ruled by evil counselors. Even the divine virtues themselves are unstable. So everything in the world suffers loss and damage. 104. The health of man is undermined by sickness of various kinds. When fortune has departed, then disasters come in, as if by the open door. Death truly brings all things under his sway. Destiny has made nothing abide firmly. 106. Man of 12 in the narrow womb of their mother, suffering pain. Youth, with its separations from one we love, is full of sorrow. Old age, exposing man to the contempt of woman, is an evil thing. Ours, when one reckons both, what pleasures are there to be found in the world? 107. The life of man endures 100 years. Half is spent in night. Of the remainder, half was spent in childhood and in old age. Servitude, pain, separation, sickness. Fill up that which is left. What pleasure then can there be in the life of man, which is as uncertain as the bubbles of the stream? 108. Pure-minded man, possessed of right judgment, their union with the Supreme Spirit, perform things hard of performance, for they are entirely cased on worldly riches, which are the source of all pleasures. As for us, neither what we had formerly nor that which we have now is really in our own power. That which we have only in wish we cannot abandon. 109. Old age menaces the body like a tiger, diseases carry it off like enemies. Life slips away like water out of a broken jar, and yet man lives an evil life in a world truly this marvelous. 110. The Creator makes a jewel of a man, wire, virtues, and ornament to the earth, and then in one moment destroys them. Alas, what want of knowledge does the Creator display? 111. The body is bent with age, the steps fail, the teeth are broken, the sight becomes dim, deafness grows on one, the mouth dribbles, servants cease to obey one's orders. One's wife is not submissive, One's son is even one's enemy. Such are the evils of old age. 112. For a moment, one is a child. For a moment, youth are full of love. In 1 minute, wealth is abundant. In the next, it has all vanished. A man comes to the end of life, and then, with his limbs worn by age and covered with wrinkles, as an actor disappears behind the curtain, so he enters the abode of death. 113. Whether a man were a serpent or a string of pearls, whether he be surrounded by powerful enemies or friends, whether he be the owner of jewels or possesses merely a lump of mud, whether he is bad flowers or stone, whether he be encircled by grass or by a multitude of women, it is all the same to him while dwelling in a sacred grove he invokes Shiva. Miscellaneous Shopas. 1. The whole world is filled with delight to the poor man, to the man whose passions are subdued, to the man whose form and whose mind is never equal, who's filled with contentment. 2. Final emancipation. Death is approaching, but yet no thought is bestowed upon these things. The various states of life have been passed through calamity, happiness, faults, dangers. These have been endured. What more shall we say? Alas, what injury have you not inflicted on yourself over and over again? 3. The belly is a pot, difficult to fill. It scorched up a man's virtue, even as the moon scorches up the bats of no to cease. Thus like a thief that steals one's purse, it is even as a flashing axe cutting down the tree of virtue. Oh, let us eat the food we have gained by begging. Let the sky be our only garment, let the earth be our couch, or should we be a slave to harsh masters? 5. Oh, my friend, rise up, endure the heavy weight of poverty. Let me overcome with readiness and joy at length the rest which thou hast gained in death. Thus was the corpse on the way to the burying ground addressed by a man who had lost his wealth. The corpse remained in silence, knowing that death is better than poverty. 6. Nîti Śṛṅgāraśatakam miscellaneous Śṛṅgā 4. 7. Nîti Śṛṅgāraśatakam miscellaneous Śṛṅgā 6. 8. Ara, who rejoices because his beloved spouse is half of his own being, shines resplendent in those who are given over to passion, the same deity who has no Hyperius manifested in his absence of a union with his wife rules in those who are freed from passion. He who's filled with confusion through the very smite poisoned arrows of love, hard to be endued, cheated, can neither abandon nor enjoy objects of sense. 9. At one time women laugh, at another they weep. So they make man trust in them, though they themselves are full of falsehood. The understanding man therefore wards women as he would a vessel used in a burying place. 10. When we pass our life in Venice, on the banks of the divine river, clothed in a single garment and with our hands uplifted to our head, in supplication exclaim, O spouse of Gauri, Tripurahara, Samhu, Trinayana, we propitious to us. In the midst of our supplications, the days pass by as if in a moment. 11. A firm swelling bosom, twinkling eyes, a small mouth, curling hair, slowness of speech, and rounded hips are praised in a woman. Timidity, who is always commanded in the heart of a woman one loves, and the cunning vices which she practices towards her lover. Those fawn-eyed damsels who have all these collect faults should be dear only to the beasts. 12. Sometimes there's music and song, sometimes lamentations. Sometimes we may listen to the conversation of the wives, sometimes only the disputes of drunken men, sometimes we may enjoy pleasures, sometimes our bodies may be running over with the seas. So the life of man is made up partly of ambrosia, partly of poison. 13. You, as you pay flattery to your rich patrons with your voice and lips disguised, are, as it were, the actors in a comedy. What kind of part will you play in time when your hair is grey with age? 14. Censored. Footnote of the reader. The reader, in this case myself, would like to give you further information from the notes of the book, from the appendix. The 14th shloka of the miscellaneous shlokas that are presented by Wortham and Vairâgya Shatakam part is just completely censored. But you find some notes in a part of his book called Notes to Vairâgya Shatakam. 14. I will read it. It's quoted. Objects of desire are ever fresh. And then he gives us Horace, quote of Horace, Amina, from the Latin poet. It's given later, not in English, and there is no English translation, but it's what he gives us. I will read it. Intermissarinus Dio, russus benovores, parce precor preco, sun quali ceremonne, subregno tiernare. Yeah, I know most people would have some problems with that because they don't know Latin, so they might be quite confused. Indians as well as Westerners from the US, from Britain, from Germany, Spain, Italy, all the countries, they don't know it. Maybe it's better for people from Romance language speaking countries, but in the end, I will try to translate it as good as I can. Maybe that's not good if I try to do so, but what should I do? And permisa is something like intermission, and or Venus Mores is Venus, and it's a question, yes. Venus does the move, and it's talk about Era, which is war. So Venus does the move, the war again. Do you waging war again? While we had this intermission, of war. So it's something like, as I have the sense of Venus. Do you want to wage war again after we have so much peace? Have had so much peace, something like that. And marche prego, something like peace, please, peace, please, or please, peace. And non sum qualis eram bonne subregno cernae is I am not like I was under the reign of the good Janai, whatever it does mean. So I give you all. He gave us. I don't know why he omitted the 14th shloka, but he did it. So I end of the footnote of the reader. I will continue with the actual book reading. 15. Fortune is fleeting, breath is fleeting, youth is fleeting, the only thing immovable in the world is righteousness. 16. Nihara, whose forehead is ornamented by the crescent moon like a tongue of flame, who consumed the god of love, living around him like a moth, manifesting himself in the height of the state of happiness, who removes the mighty weight of darkness which overwhelms the earth, porch of light, and the innermost mind of the ascetic. May he, Hara, you victorious. 17. O my mind, do not in thy solicitude think upon the goddess of fortune, for she is as uncertain as a courtesan, delighting to sport on the frown or smile of princes, rather clothe thyself with rags, and entering Minaris back from door to door, the food which man will place and the vessels which you offer. 18. The tall horse whose back is buried with the burden of the mighty war which he bears has been indeed born to good purpose. The birth of the pole star is glorious too, for the splendid orb of the universe is fixed upon him. All the beings that have come into being are as though that, for their wings are useless in doing good to others. They are neither above nor below, but are even as gnats buzzing about on the victory of this world. 19. My house is magnificent, my sons are respected by the good. My wealth is infinite, my wife is beautiful, my life is in its prime. Thus speaks the man whose mind is obscured through ignorance. The wise man, on the contrary, knowing that everything in the present house of this world is transitory, casts aside all earthly possessions. 20. Those who are full of curses may curse. We are wretches, and because we are devoid of evil, we cannot pour forth abusive words that only can be given witches in the world. It would not be possible to give a Hades horn to anyone. 21. Ide, Nîti, Shataka, miscellaneous Roka, 10. 22. Subsistence can be easily gained in this world, in the path of delights. The earth is full of fruit. Elephant or deer skin will provide clothing. The same consequences result from happiness or unhappiness. Who then, casting off the three-eyed deity, would reverse one blinded by the love of a little money? 23. We have slain elephants by the sword. We have tortured our enemies. We have playfully sported on the couch of our beloved. We have lived within the roaring sound of the falls of the Himalayas, but yet we have no pleasure. Like the crows, we have passed our lives in eager desire of the morsels of food given to us by others. 24. When, O my mind, does the wander rest for a time, since that which has been ordained cannot come to pass in any other way? Think not of the past, care nothing for the future. Enjoy only those pleasures which come and go without being looked for. 25. Use thy hand as a drinking vessel. Eat and taste the food thou hast gained by begging with pure mind. Take up thy seat in any place thou canst, looking on the whole world by the grass. It is only a few before they have cast off their earthly forms who have attained to the knowledge of the unbroken and exceeding happiness which the ascetic feels a bliss easily gained through the favor of Shiva. 26. Vai has not been released by you from Papa. You have not brought destruction to death. The dark spot has not been cleared from the moon, nor has sickness been removed from man. You have not borne up a word for a moment, and so relieve the weariness of Shisha. Oh, my mind, art thou not ashamed wrongfully to bear the honor belonging only to noble heroes? 27. One more desires to attain reunion with Shiva, for through union with him all that restlessness arising from the discussion as to the meaning of the different Shastras is allayed. Emotions stirred up by poetry with its very sentiments are made to cease. The multitude of bounds is entirely swept away. 28. You may take the fruits of the earth at your will. In every wood there is no lack of trees. In every place there is water, sweet and cool. Of the sacred streams there is a soft couch drawn for you made up of the shoots of the delicate creepers. Why then the wretched man suffer such miseries waiting as the doers of the rich? 29. You may have enjoyed a meal of good food. What then? Or you may have eaten coarse food at the close of the day. What then? Your raiment may be wrecked and torn, rainbow and magnificent. What then? You may have but one servant, or an endless number. What then? You may have but one elephant, or you may be encircled by thousands of horses and elephants. What then? 30. I can gain food by begging. The cow of plenty supplies me with milk. My rags keep off the cold. I worship Shiva unceasingly. What care I for possessions? 31. The great ascetics declare that a life passed as a medicine is not miserable, for the medicine has no fear of loss. He has no envy, pride, or arrogance. He is free from the mass of evils which beset mankind. He gains his food day by day without difficulty. The medicine life is a means of purification beloved by the gods. It lays up treasure that will last forever. It increases devotion to Shiva. Medicine, who has the earth for his couch, the sky as his canopy, the moon as his lamp, rejoicing in the union which he has attained with peace, feigned by the winds of heaven, which blow from all quarters as even as a prince, although he has cast off all desire for earthly possessions. 33. Pleasures are as fleeting as the changing ripples of the mighty river. Life leads away in an instant. Our days are few. The joys of youth pass away. Love of one's friends fails. But that the wise man, therefore, who knows that all this world is vain, and whose mind truly perceives the evil of worldly attractions, direct his efforts towards indifference. 34. Thou dost not regard the face of the rich, thou dost not speak flattering words, thou dost not listen to the utterance of pride. Thou dost not go here and there for the hope of profit, but thou eatest in their season the fresh shoots of grass, and sleepest peacefully at the time of sleep. Help me, I pray thee, O dear, what penance hast thou practiced? 35. Nîti, Shataka, Śṛṅgāraśatakam. 15. 36. Nîti, Shataka, Śṛṅgāraśatakam. 37. Nîti, Shataka, Śṛṅgāraśatakam. 16. 38. Women who are young avoid the man whose head is grey with age, and the man who's enfeebled by years. They flee far from him, avoiding him like the well frequented by grass, which has a piece of bone hanging over it. 39. How often are thy enterprises destroyed? How often, senseless man, has thou not decided, filled as thou art, with foodie to drink water from a way mirage of this world, since thy confidence is not abated, and since thy mind, though torn, is not subdued, surely thy heart must be made of adamantine rock. 40. The eyes of a woman will softly enter a man's heart and fill it with infatuation, with intoxication, with deception, with menaces, with delights. What will not the eyes of a woman accomplish? 41. The mighty lion, which eats the flesh of boars and elephants, enjoys love but once in a year, though picking up only pieces of hard rock is a lover every day. Tell me, what is the reason for this? 42. Dwelling in a separate forest, with the deer alone as companions, a life nourished of the fruits of the earth, on the banks of every stream, the flat rock surface forgotten. Such is the life of a peaceful calm that the ascetic lives, who desires contact with Ara. His mind is fixed upon one object, the forest or the dwelling are the same to him. 43. The goddess pours forth words of sweet sound, more pleasing than honey or butter. At the utterances of her ambrosial body, we are filled with delight as long as we can. Aim barely grain by begging, so long we will not desire to amass wealth gained in a state of slavery.